Welcome back to the Charismatic Voice. Today's song choice is from our patrons, and I'm so excited that we're being taken back to Jethro Tull. Ian Anderson's mind is just brilliant, and the way that he combines folk and rock and voice and flute has always shocked me. So I want to hear how that all comes together to celebrate the holidays. Let's get to it.
This next record is my record of the week on Radio 1 next week. I just thought I'd throw that in. It's a rather nice seasonal offering from Jethro Tull, and it's called Ring Out Those Solstice Bells.
Now it's the solstice of the year. Winter is a glance that you hear. 7 days moon, 7 time. Gather like the ready in the light.
Okay, I had to wait for a little bit because I'm pretty sure that we've got music from another performance that is being piped in with this one, or maybe we've got just tracks that are overlaid on top of it because sometimes the lips aren't singing correctly. Obviously, like there was a moment there where we had the flute when the flute wasn't actually being played. So I just wanted to give it a little moment, double check it some more. This is really fun because this is also a much younger Ian Anderson that I've seen before. And he's still just so sprightly with the most amazing eyes. What is it with the foot here? It feels like it has a certain, it adds to the sprightliness, right? There's also something very magical and foresty about this. It feels like, right, we're kind of like prancing through a forest. And he feels like, gosh, what's the word? Not an elf or a gnome. Is that a satyr? There's some sort of like character that plays an instrument in the forest and has horns. I think it might be a satyr is what it's called. We're going to go back to the beginning. There's a lot to take in.
This next record is my record of the week on Radio 1 next week. I just thought I'd throw that in. It's a
a
rather
very
nice
cute
seasonal
accent.
offering from Jethro Tull, and it's called Ring Out Those Solstice Bells.
Even in the way he plays the flute, it's so fascinating to hear how he's using the airflow and capitalizing on that. It's so important for a voice or any wind instrument. You have to start with a good breath in, and you have to know how to let that flow out at a certain rate that will support whatever you are playing or singing. And even in this flute intro, there's a whoo feeling that happens at one point that you can easily hear how that would tumble over into a vocal line.
Solstice Bells.
Right there.
Now it's the solstice of the year. Winter is a glance that you hear. 7 days moon, 7 time. Gather like the ready in the light. Ring out these bells. Ring out, ring solstice bells. Ring solstice bells.
Wow. I love the way that they're really messing with the time signature at different times. I think it's impressive that you can, we've got elements of folk here, we've got elements of progressive rock. It's blending together so well. It's, Jethro Tull is just a fascinating artist. I feel like we could go really, really way deeper into all of his work. I think let's go back for now and I'll try and pause at different moments and talk about some of the specifics that I find so fascinating. But warning, it might be really hard to do that because they're so layered on top of each one that once I find one fascinating thing, before that thing is finished, there's usually another fascinating thing that takes off, and I'm like, oh, overwhelmed by fascinating.
Yeah, 7 major moons and I'm blind. Apple at the break in the light.
So in that section, there's so many times that I want to find a downbeat and look for what the time signature is, and it is evasive. Evasive AF. Because I cannot, like, what is it? What is it? No, there's definitely a downbeat. No, that wasn't the downbeat. That was the downbeat. I love it. I feel like I'm being tricked, but there's a lull and a feeling in here that makes me think, okay, it's fine. They know where it is. And you just sort of like fall back into it. I feel like I'm being enchanted by fairies.
Moons and I'm blind. Apple at the break in the light. Bring out these bells. Bring out solstice bells.
Couple of things to mention right in here. This is a great example of just how much nasality is in his tone. If you haven't heard me analyze Jethro Tull before, that we have some very early videos on the channel talking about Jethro Tull, and specifically about how Ian Anderson goes so nasal, like incredibly nasal. It's all through here. And one of the main ways that you get really nasal is by dropping the soft palate. Some people call it the velum, same thing. Okay, it's like your false folds and your ventricular folds, same thing. We just have a couple different names for them. Sigh. Anyhow, that fleshy flap in the back drops. It's back there where if you're not really sure where your soft palate is, take a finger, put it on the roof of your mouth, and then go back until you hit something squishy. And that's your soft palate. You might gag, but that's okay. You'll have found your soft palate, so that's a good thing, right? So if the soft palate, it can raise. It's a very dynamic. It's a dynamic tissue, and it can raise or it can be lowered. It can be partway up. It has some shapes that it can make here, and if it's really far up, it actually can block off access to the nasal passage. So that means if your soft palate is really far up, the sound cannot exit through your nose. Now, if it's really far down, feels so weird to do. If it's really far down, a lot more of the sound is going to be exiting through your nose than through your mouth. So you get to direct how much sound is exiting through your nose versus your mouth by careful engagement of the soft palate, or not so careful. A lot of people are very unaware of what their soft palate is doing. In his case, the soft palate is way down because his voice is so nasal. It's not only nasal resonance, it actually is pouring the sound waves through his nostrils. It's a lot of nasality in the sound. Additionally, I'm going to go back just one more time. Listen for the nasality and for the tubular bells that are like that distinctive, aha, this is a holiday song kind of sound.
Apple at the break in the light.
There you go.
Now these bells.
Oh, there's actually tubular bells, it looks like, on stage there.
Ring solstice
Like on the other side of the keyboard.
ring solstice bells. Join together, knee.
There were a few measures of 4/4 there. Did you catch that? It was really exciting. I'll count it out because I can count on that part.
Ring solstice bells.
3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
By the holy oak where robin grows. 7 druids dance and 7 pines. Sing the song of bells while I be time.
So we've got a combination time signature wise of 4 and 3 here. They might be calling it Sometimes you'll actually see in sheet music, it'll alternate between 4/4 and 3/4. Sometimes you'll see just 7/4, or sometimes it really depends on what denominator of note you're using. The 4 and the 8 on the bottom just tell you what type of note gets one beat. So either a quarter note or an eighth note gets one beat. So really, truly, we could see this written as 7/4 or 7/8. But this is all, the point of it is if it's a 7/4 or 7/8 or 3/4 and 4/4, that would be if we were writing it out in sheet music so that lots of people could perform it. If we're not writing this down on sheet music, if it's something like a lot of contemporary bands today have moved away from sheet music, if it's something that we're just feeling together, maybe we have tracks to help us make sure we're all in sync on these fun time signatures. We don't actually necessarily need to know what time signature it's in. We just need to be able to feel it all together. And I've seen some crazy things done in DAWs, which is music production software, where it almost ignores the idea that there's even a changing time signature for a little bit, and just is emphasizing a certain feel so that the performance will be able to capture that. The big summary of it is, if you're getting into sheet music and you really want to know, like, is this 7/8 or 7/4, there are slightly different feels to those time signatures, but that does not mean that one is necessarily going to be written definitively as 7/8 or 7/4 or 3/4 and 4/4 combined. What we can find is that there is a feeling of a 3 and a 4 put together. Let's go back. I'll count it out. That got confusing. I didn't explain it the best I could have, but hopefully you caught it. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. You get the idea. Anytime we have a 7 somehow in a time signature, it's always very exciting because it is very bold. Most people will not compose with 7s on top unless you're like Tool or Radiohead. I think it's pretty awesome to hear, and it definitely feels like it's a little jaunting at times. It's fun. It almost sounds like they've taken this entire idea of the tubular bells, which I mentioned earlier. Maybe those are representative of the solstice bells in this case. And it sounds like they're taking that idea and the resonance, this really very reverby, right? That sound stamp is being applied to some of the vocals here, right? You get this, an impression that somehow the vocals could have been even taken and synthesized to sound more like tubular bells. I love the crossing scales. It's kind of dark. Ooh, and mysterious. He has such fun eyes. Really enjoy it. I really like holiday music, y'all. And I've been thinking about this a lot because it's that time of the year when I want to play holiday music. And I'm like, come on, we're ready for it. And a lot of people just really aren't as into holiday music as I am. Shocking, I know. But I thought, well, what is it that I like so much about holiday music? And this is very much included. It's not just Christmas music, it's holiday music. And I think it's certainly that I have so many good memories associated with the holidays, right? There's a sentimentality. Holidays meant a lot more time with my family growing up, a lot of singing together and playing lots of games together, doing puzzles together, lots of family time. And maybe because I really love my family, I think we've got an awesome family. Like that is automatically for me going to just feel good. I'm going to have great memories of the holidays. But then I started thinking more about it, and this relates, I swear, we're going to bring it back to this in several ways. I thought, well, holidays for me just represent some of the things that I particularly value and things that I want society to value as well. There are some values in holidays that maybe I don't love as much, but the ones that I like that I want to bring attention to, one is giving. I feel that holiday spirit has a lot of giving, especially when it's one of the darkest times of the year, often the coldest times. Winter solstice being the darkest day of the year. This idea of humans just giving to each other, I think is really, really beautiful. I think there's so much kindness there. And I love that that is valued and that you hear bells ringing, encouraging people to give money, or you go to the grocery store and there's a bag of food that you can buy and donate to a homeless shelter. For me, it's very important at the holiday time that we're not just thinking about giving to family and friends, but that we're thinking about giving to strangers as well. So giving is really, really important, especially when it can be a dark, cold time for many, many people. And then I love that it's quality time with your loved ones. That for me, quality time is one of my love languages. So I just interpret quality time as it's love. And there's love around the holidays. So I love quality time with people. And then the other thing is, it feels so magical. Like, I know it's silly. I so believe in magic in so many ways. Sometimes magic is found in science. I know that might sound a little bit crazy, but I think there can be magic in nature and the glistening of the snow, seeing it fall down, or the crackles of a fire. It's so beautiful. I think that there's magic in this fairyland that's essentially established with this solstice song. There's magic in Santa. There's magic in so many different aspects of different kinds of religion as well. So I think that often the holidays are celebrating somewhere in there, some form of magic. And I think that's just a really beautiful thing to be optimistic about in life. So anyhow, that's all to say. Songs like this just make me happy, and I hope that they make you happy too.
Take me to the distance, just the sun. Joyful as the sail of a shrine.
They make him happy too.
Seven days moves, seven time. Sing the song of bells on a decline.
Did you hear how deliberate he was about that diphthong shift? Right, the word I think was time, which is composed essentially of an ah and an e vowel, time. And he's so clear about when that shifts to the e part of the vowel. Check it out. Was it timing or chiming? Maybe I'm actually getting a second part of the word in there.
Sing the song of bells on a decline.
Oh, you know what? It isn't a diphthong. Well, there technically actually is a diphthong in there, but he wasn't shifting as I described on a diphthong on time. This was chime, which is where the diphthong is, ming. So he's being read a little bit with an M in there. I think right before was a different diphthong actually on time, though.
7 days move, seven time.
That was deliberate.
Sing the song of bells on a decline.
There we go. Yeah. So nasal, man. Right. I feel like it's very possible at the next LARP event that I'm just going to go as Ian Anderson. I have to get a flute. should probably learn how to play it a little bit. But you could totally just go to an event dressed as he is right now and play a flute, and no one would blink. This part here, I'm guessing this is wrapping it up. It's reminiscent actually of Carol of the Bells. So we're getting this echo of voices sort of in around here, which is really interesting to me. Additionally, I wanted to point out he does have a very open mouth. So not only does he have a lot of soft palate drop that is causing a lot of the sound to go through his nose, but he has an open mouth too. So he's got this combination of a really open vowel and nasality at the same time. That's cool. Never-ending bells. Oh, sleigh bells. There's your tubular bells. Y'all, if you weren't sure what tubular bells are, that's this instrument that you're seeing that's got the green shiny on it, right? That's how I identify things, is by what color of shiny they have. But this green shiny instrument, tubular bells, you don't see them very often, usually only in some sort of festive orchestra performance. A very, very rare percussion instrument in general. Or for weddings. They're associated with weddings and celebrations. That's cool. Nice. I hope that you all have a really wonderful holiday season. No matter what you're celebrating, how you celebrate, I hope that it's wonderful, that it's full of kindness, that it's full of quality time with good people, and that it's full of magic and lots of awesome music. Did I mention awesome music? If you want some more awesome music analyzed for the holidays, check out this post over here, and may you fall more in love with music every day.